Welcome to the Packaging Perspective, video and podcast series brought to you by Packhelp. Every episode, we welcome an exciting new brand to learn about what makes them buzz, the trends taking off in their industries, and the fascinating role packaging plays in it all. Hello everyone and welcome on today's episode of the Packaging Perspective. Today we'll be talking about the coffee industry and a particular segment of it. Coffee is a large, complex industry with a long history of global trade. Coffee is commercially produced in over 50 countries, and globally, people drink 3 billion cups of coffee a day. There is a particular segment that has sparked growth and innovation within mainstream coffee, spiking demand in traditional markets with already high per capita consumption of coffee. It's specialty coffee. Specialty coffee has helped to introduce the concepts of craftsmanship, individuality, and quality to a coffee industry that was largely mainstream. Today, I will be chatting about embracing these qualities and growing a specialty coffee brand with our guest, Alexis Castañeda, Head of Operations at Wakuli. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, Magda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Let's start with introducing Wakuli, a brand that you represent. From what I read, your aim is to get rid of bad coffee, and that goes way beyond the taste, right? So if you could tell us a little bit about the concept and how it all started.
Nice, thank you. The slogan is no more bad coffee, basically, and it talks more, beyond taste. It's all the coffee industry, how the supply chain of the coffee value chain works. Few people actually know how it works. They just know what they get into their tables and not what is behind. To dig a little more, you need to know exactly which steps to take and how to observe and look through the supply chain to try to change it. That is something that we're trying to do. It's not an easy job, the David and Goliath story, but we are super inspired. We're eager to change the coffee industry for good, and that's where not more bad coffee comes from.
But it's very exciting, and we're going to chat about that more in a second. But can you tell a little bit more about when the brand was started and where does it come from? Because maybe not everyone is aware.
So it's from the Netherlands. The two founders are from the Netherlands, Jorik Browns and Lucas Grosveld. So they had an idea back in 2018 when one of the founders was working in the coffee industry and realized how unfair it can be with the farmers, and trying to do something and partner up both founders and to try to change it from the ground. It's not easy. And in 2019, they import their first bag of coffee. So it's 60 kilograms of coffee. It's a coffee bag, a green coffee, and that's where it all started. And they try to follow all the supply chain, right, in order to know where you are paying and whom you're paying and what you're paying for, right? And that's an important thing that you can see through. And that's how Wakuli was born, right? And start getting in the hearts of the people, because we try to be as transparent as possible of what we do, and that ideal is the purpose that drives all the companies. So, that was in 2019. 2020, we had around 1,200 subscribers, because the main channel of distribution was distribution by subscription model. And then we make a big jump from 1,200 to 12,000 in 1 year.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. And then we keep growing and diversifying the distribution channels. So it's a super interesting story, and how you have to build and thrive through uncertainty and yes, a lot of brain work and efficiency as well. Yes, we try to redistribute the profit along the value chain in order to pay fair to the farmers and create a positive domino effect that can reach and create awareness to all the different coffee partners and people that source coffee or any other type of sourcing, right? So yeah, that's what has brought us today, 2023.
We're gonna talk about the whole value chain because I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but specialty coffee starts with sourcing the right quality of the coffee beans. So if you could tell us a little bit about how you choose your suppliers that you work with. I mean, it's a huge market. Again, coffee is produced in a lot of countries. So how do you actually source the right partners?
First of all, is we look into the potential of farmers that does not have access to different markets, or they are undeveloped in this. So we can with them reach their whole potential. Also quality, it's another thing, and the mindset for a long-term relationship. Basically the impact team, they have a matrix with 20 requisites, let's say. They prioritize requisites that then, right? So in order to assess the best regions where we can source, and we always try to make that right choice to make the biggest impact in those regions. We try to create that access or that connection to information. So also to pay the right price, we build a strategy with them, together with them. It's not only to increase the price, also we think along with them to reduce production costs. So that's also an improvement. And it's a two-way street of value sharing, because they show us and teach us so much about every step on the process, and it's inspiring really. And we try to give them access to the knowledge of the market where they are selling. Some farmers, they don't know which is the final product at the end, the roasted cup of coffee that is like. So yeah, in some regions it's like that. So we try to bring these dots together.
But it's a great strategy because you both can grow. You learn something from them, but you also try to give back and feed back to them and teach them some of the things that you're good at, which I think is brilliant. How many suppliers are you currently working with?
Around 10. It's different seasons where we source.
Sure.
So right now it's around 10 regions that we source from, 10 partners.
Okay. And I'm going to ask about something I found on your website, because I've read that you are not sourcing any certified coffee. That's an information I found in your impact report. Yeah. Can you explain that?
Well, certifications means costs. And normally the costs are assumed by the farmer. So low entry household farmers can't reach those costs of to be standardized and to be certified, right? So this is the huge impact for the farmers that have no money to get certifications. So you are standardizing the cost through or across all the countries and not making a suitable case for each country or each region they source from. So that makes it more difficult. And some farmers get into practices that they should not in order to get there, in order to sell volumes. And there's no volume insured for them. So they make all this hustle to get there, and the volume is not there. They ask the half probably of what they grew. So at the end, they have a half without selling. So that's a risk. So the majority of the risk is on the farmers. And I think there's a lot of steps in between that you can improve in order to check in if the supply chain is good and if the coffee is organic or not, or where it comes from. So that's why we don't work with certifications. We don't think that they're bad at all. Don't get me wrong. Actually, they are pretty much a good first steps to get into some clear supply chain and to make a good impact, right? We believe in that too. But now we have another model working in which we can see through, and it's a little more fair for the farmers.
Yeah, especially if you're working with the smaller farmers, as you mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. So hopefully other people can understand that too and judge for themselves whether they agree with that strategy or not.
Sure.
Now, we've talked about the costs, and obviously there are a lot of costs that farmers need to bear. But I want to flip that and talk with you a little bit about the coffee pricing, because this is a complex topic. Like, if I would Google today, what's the price of the coffee, some numbers will show up that I don't think really represent what, you are paying or you should be paying to those coffee producers. So if you could tell us a little bit about how you set up your pricing to make it actually fair.
It's common work or two-street work with the farmers as well. So to determine the price. First of all, we approach also, as I told you, in production cost reductions, right? We never pay below the market price.
Sure.
We always try to play above the market price, and happen in all the regions right now that we are sourcing from. The strategy of pricing is together with the farmers to think along. After we build a strategy or they don't have that much information to build their pricing, we give them information and they come with their prices to us. And that's how it started. It's not that we set a price and then we put the bar for them. We give all the information to build together the pricing and they put the bar. And then we see in the long term, which is the effects and how much we can pay above that line. And that's how we set a pricing for them. So it doesn't come from a stock market price or the limited price or a standardized. It's built through each case to make the most positive impact possible.
So my understanding is that you're paying above the average coffee price to make it fair and profitable for farmers, right? Now, once you have your coffee beans sourced, they are of good quality, you paid the fair price for them, you can't really pack them and ship to your customers yet, because you need the process of roasting. This is something very obvious for me, or maybe for you, as we're into coffee. So how do you approach the art and science of coffee roasting? What factors do you consider when determining the optimal roast for different coffee varieties?
It's a craftsmanship. You have to pick the right roast for each type of beans. So this means that you will cup them before to taste which is the best roast and will take out the most taste of flavors. This doesn't mean that you should always roast it light. That's something that is not set. But you can also roast it medium to take another type of flavors, take another type of intensity. So it's different type of coffee taste profiles that you can reach.
And how long is the process, like from the moment when the coffee beans arrive to your office or magazine to actually defining the right flavor profile and being like, okay, we're ready to, put them on the market and sell them? How long does it take?
Yeah, it takes a while because, there's a lot of testing before. Right, it's testing the samples when they arrive here, and then the coffee when it arrives here also is tested to check if they meet the same quality than the samples. Also go through the product team. They start doing trials. Depends a lot, but it could take from 6 months, 3 months. If you are in a rush, could be a couple of months, right? But it's how you develop products to develop the right taste. So you have in mind already what you are gonna bring alive to the market in the next 3 months or 4 months. It's like a lot of knowledge building.
Now you have your coffee beans sourced based on fair partnership with partners. You roasted them. That took a lot of time. The whole process, adding the roasting part of it. And you can finally, put them on the market. But there is one key component into putting it on the market and preserving its freshness and flavor profile, and its packaging. Let's talk a little bit. How did you find the perfect packaging? How does one really maintain the quality of a coffee? In other words, what kind of primary packaging are you using for your products?
So we are using it's called mono low density polyurethane bags. There's a primary package sealed with a valve. We try to use as minimum plastic possible in our bags. So there's a kind of lighter bags. It's not heavy bags. We also think it's sustainability there, but also in the product freshness, is no aluminum lining inside.
Yeah.
Right. So that's also another requisite to bring the packages alive. It's a standard pouches right now. We have different formats of them. We have a packing machine where we seal them properly, already SOPs built around it, right? Like standard operations procedures in order to see when one is rejected or not.
You already walked us through your primary packaging, but I'm hungry for, the story behind developing it. Because my understanding is that the current packaging you're using wasn't the first packaging you used, but you actually worked it through trial and error, right? So if you could talk a little bit more about the challenges you encounter while landing on that perfect pouches that you're using now, or maybe they're not perfect and you're iterating. I want to hear about that too.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Packaging world is another world in which a lot of engineering needs to be made there. But yeah, our first pouches had the bottom really big. If you pack them and put it on a box, they will be like thick, right? So at the end, you put the box on top and it's going to be fluffy. And then at the
Yeah.
end, if you want to put it through the mailbox, the mailman will not push. Courier tried to push it through a mailbox, but the mailbox was not strong enough, and the whole thing went through. Yeah, so all these kind of things you start learning in the process. And we were worried about it, right? Like, what are we doing? So we tried to change this packaging and cut the edges or the gazette that have in the bottom in order to, when it gets out of the packing machine or being packed, it doesn't get that fluffy. So
Yeah.
it has a limit, right?
Yeah.
So, and also need to be standing up afterwards. So it's a lot of testing and a lot of prototype. I think still needs some work to do. In terms of design, in terms also of engineering the pouches, or also materials, but we're gonna get there. We keep working.
Yeah, I mean, this is like an overarching theme with a lot of guests of this video cousin podcast series, that, packaging is a hidden killer, and then there's always something to improve on, because like when you grow your business, new challenges arise, and then you need to also grow or develop your packaging as you develop your business. So, well, if it's of any consolation, I don't think you're alone out there with those struggles. Now, you already mentioned it, that e-commerce and specifically subscription model is your biggest distribution channel. So obviously that requires more types of packaging involved in your processes. For example, to do the shipment, right? Was it challenging to develop packaging that is both aesthetically pleasing? Because I think you can agree with me that this is very important for customers today to have a pleasant and nice unboxing experience, but also a packaging that is practical for shipping.
Yeah. So we did also a lot of testing in the outer packaging, the secondary packaging as well. We got the mailbox measurements from every region we're shipping. We had like little maquettes or holes where we start trying all the packages, and the outer box should be also thin, but also carry bags of coffee, right? So that's a lot of testing, a lot, and to get into the right measurements, we try a lot different type of boxes. And another thing that is not seen is that need to be packed comfortably for the person that is packing, because everything that you do, someone is being behind doing it. So after a lot of testing, we got into a box in which you can fold well, is sturdy, and go through the majority of the mailboxes in the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. And it's thin enough, so they fit, so it's nice. We don't have that much complaints. Yeah, I think we got into a nice outer packaging now.
Now that you advertise this packaging, I'm really curious, how does it actually look like?
So first, this one, it's coffee, the coffee beans, and how the packaging is.
All right.
And this one is the coffee pots.
So yeah, let's do a little bit of unboxing now. So as you said, it's very flat, but also it feels sturdy. So I trust that it can really deliver the coffee as it's supposed to. Now there are two pouches inside, and a little, not really thank you card, but more like information about the coffee origins, is it?
Yes, exactly.
All right. I'm gonna put it aside. And yeah, and it can fit nicely the two coffee bags together. Yeah. And these flaps here are for the better protection. No, I didn't fold it correctly, so it doesn't close. It's a craft mailer from what I'm seeing, with a nice print on it, one color on craft. And there is also a print at the back of your packaging. Wake up your taste buds. That's a very nice slogan. And your website, so people know where to look for more information if they're curious. All right, so that is the coffee packaging. It's really nice. Let's check out the packaging for pods. Because spoiler alert, we didn't mention it yet, but you actually started selling pods, right?
Yes.
When was it?
2019. 2020.
All right. And how is it going for you? Is it becoming more popular than traditional coffee sold in bags, or?
It's a growing market for sure because it's convenient. In
Yeah.
one shot, in some couple of minutes, you have already your flavorful cup of coffee, right? So yeah, but yeah, well, for us, it's going steady as well.
Okay, let's see how the packaging works with your pods. Again, same, or yeah, I think it's the same construction with the flaps to close it better. And there are also inner boxes with different flavors of pods, I would assume, different profile flavors.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and at the back of it, you see different information about the region the coffee it's coming from, and some more information about the flavor profile. That's such a good job on actually measuring your packaging and really thinking through, what's probably the most common case for it, so that you have the packaging ready to really fit, the 2 pouches or 4 product boxes with pods. Really job well done.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna put it aside so that it's not distracting me. Confession, I'm a big coffee lover. Whenever I see coffee, I'm really excited about it. Its taste, but also its packaging. Another fun fact about me, I'm really into design. And I think coffee specifically, the design of your packaging is very important, because very often you can't really see the product. You can't really taste it before buying it. If you're shopping online, for example. So packaging is something that really gives a brand an opportunity to distinguish themselves. Yeah. So how do you use your packaging design to market Wakuli in e-commerce space and on the shelves?
Yeah. It's tough because out there's a lot of good packaging.
Yeah.
Now people are asking for better packaging as well when they receive things in their houses. So what we do is we try to give the most of information from us or from what we do in our packaging. Like for example, you saw the coffee pots. We have 4 regions, and we put the region where we source, the altitude, and all the kind of information that it have. So at the end, if you in the retail shelf you got a coffee pot box, right, you can check what you're going to consume afterwards when you purchase it. So it's nice to see.
And I think what you were saying, that you try to showcase as much about the origins of the coffee, I think that just proves a point to how much you care about the transparency and how you showcase your whole value chain. It's not just an empty word that you're saying right now. It's visible on all your channels, with the biggest touch point being probably your packaging that people interact with on daily basis. Now, I wanna ask you a little bit about some of the trends in specialty coffee. One of them is subscription model, which is a very core thing for your business. So if you could tell us a little bit about, the behind scenes, like I'm very curious how one does start, selling a coffee in a subscription model. How does it work?
So it's a lot of planning, order sorting. You have to be organized. You have to be sharp, efficient, and also react to any customer problem that they might have. It's a list of different type of coffee, different combinations, different reference codes, different suppliers that will ship your packages. So everything has to be organized in a way that each step goes correctly and then pass to another, have verifications in each step in order to know that you are doing the right thing. Get into more practical information, it's first start in order sorting in a way that you can organize by groups, by regions, all your orders. And then by type group of coffees, then to have the supply for each type of list ready. If not, you have to plan more supply, meaning roasting extras, batches, and not only roasting extra, you also have to take care of the waste because you don't want coffee to be wasted.
Yeah.
It's amazing coffee to go to to the trash is something that for us is a no-go.
I wouldn't stand it.
No, it's a no-go. It's a no-go. It's like we try to keep it as tight as possible. From there, you pack the coffee, then you stock it for each region. Then you coordinate schedules for the delivery partners, the last mile partners that will every day come to your distribution center, pick up and start shipping. We monitor the week, how many complaints we have, how many, this is customer service, that is really tight hand by hand with operations. If every packages, we have problems in some regions, of it's alerts, right? So they keep informing and it's a two-way street again. So that's the way we make sure that we ship right and we ship good every week. So it's weekly basis, rotational cycles, let's say.
I'm curious about two things.
Yeah.
First of all, where do you manage it? Is it an Excel sheet? Is it like a set of tools? That's gonna be the first part of my question because that sounds very complex. I can't imagine Excel sheet handling that, but maybe it does. I don't know. And then the second, because you mentioned a lot of parts of the process of delivering that coffee in subscription model. I'm wondering what are your goals or metrics that you follow that are very important for you to see that you're doing the right job in delivering coffee in this model?
Yes. Both good questions.
Thank you.
Both good questions. The first question, we don't have an ERP system right now. We work in spreadsheets or Excel.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love to see that one.
We have something called a master sheet. It has from roasting planning, production planning, breakdowns per type of coffee, waste, production, cycles of roasting, and everything is a huge that built through the years, right? Another to keep inventory is the inventory master sheet as well, that have the supply coverage so you don't miss anything. So yeah, they're big data things. Our lives are gonna get easier when we get the ERP, I think. But yeah, right now in Excel sheets and Google spreadsheets. And the second question, which KPIs? So it's fulfillment rate. Fulfillment rate is from the total number of orders, how many orders we delivered in the right way for each of our distribution channels. The other is time and efficiency that we are using for packing each package, right? So from the whole hours from the month, packages made per hour, right? If it goes up or down, we measure if we are being more efficient or not using the hours that we have. We put there a breakdown of other tasks that we have as well. It's not only packing, right? Fulfillment is also, from organizing the warehouse and up to cleaning it, right? So all those things have to be taken into account to be efficient with your time. Also is the costs as well. That is part of the finances in which we see how our margins are also how good we get the grip on cost of all the components of the package as well. That is also a constant work. fluctuates a lot because the situation of the market. Sometimes imagine in COVID, everything went high. So to keep the costs um, stable was a kind of difficult, and so those kind of things. So yeah, and it's a triangle in which for me it's costs, stocks, and quality of your service, right?
I like the metaphor of triangle. I think it makes it easier for you to memorize it.
Yeah.
Now, another trend that is very important now in specialty coffee is coffee capsules or pods, as you call them. You already mentioned briefly when did you introduce them, but if you could, disclose a little bit of challenges behind, implementing such a product within your product portfolio. So basically, what were the challenges you encountered while introducing pods to your offer?
Yeah, so it's technology out there. So we try to make the best out of the pods and also to be sustainable with the environment. So it's not an easy thing to balance to get the best taste out of it,
Yeah.
right? So and not keep them in stock too long. So all these variables are difficult to put in balance. The technologies that were out there also was something that we have to research on to get the best product out of it. So all that journey of learning was a challenge for us.
We already talked about the trends that I think are already visible, and I wouldn't call them niche anymore. I think it's something a lot of specialty brands need to consider in order to actually stay competitive. But looking to the future, I'm curious what exciting innovations or trends do you foresee shaping the specialty coffee industry?
Yes, ready to drink beverages. I think that's what something that people are searching for. Another growing trend is filter coffee to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have seen these little cups in which you put just an envelope on it and you just need water. You open the envelope and there's already ground coffee there. You put it, you take it out, and you can throw it out or compost, and that's your coffee. You can have it in your backpack when you travel. Let's see where this bring us, but there's a lot of products evolving outside.
Maybe it's not purely a trend, but I think something that will shape the specialty coffee brands and how they distribute their products is actually, customer behaviors. Because we used to drink our coffee at home when the pandemic hit, right? It's something that we kind of got used to. But now we are more outgoing. We're more eager to go out and have a coffee in cafe. And I know that's something that you're also considering, right? You have opened your first cafe, if I'm not mistaken, in the Netherlands. So how do you see this trend of people going out and drinking coffee in the cafes, not in homes anymore, changing the industry?
I think right now the subscription e-commerce businesses that jumped up in the COVID times, they are getting into a lower pace now.
Yeah.
Because there's no need, as you said, anymore to stay home. So you can go out and actually have a coffee where you should have a coffee, maybe, or not. But yeah, it's a mix. It's a mix of both. So you can have options. So I think that combination it's what makes it so interesting, and I think it's a growing trend to combine both.
Yeah.
Right. So both are different experiences. Right. So you want to live the most of them.
As much as I would love to chat more with you about coffee, your packaging, and all the anecdotes that you brought, our episode is coming to an end, and it's evident for me that Wakuli as a brand is not only, specialty coffee brand, but you're a true ambassador, and you really stand behind the values of transparency, quality, and craftsmanship. So congratulations on that, I guess.
Thanks.
We have a little tradition here at the Packaging Perspective that we finish up with the round of rapid fire questions. Okay?
Perfect. Yeah.
You ready?
Ready.
All right. What's the most important trend in the coffee industry?
Specialty coffee.
What are you most proud of as a brand?
The purpose.
What kind of packaging do you use to package and deliver your coffee?
Recycle cardboard boxes.
Describe Wakuli's packaging design in one word.
A lot of testing. One word, testing.
Can be a lot of testing. It's fine. Okay, now finish the sentence. When starting out, I wish I would know about
Uncertainty of entrepreneurship.
Okay, brands that sell coffee should stop.
Giving bad coffee to the people.
Something that other brands can take as an example from Wakuli is...
Nailing the details.
All right. And we nailed that conversation.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Alexis, for sharing your remarkable journey and for sharing a lot of insights with us today. It was a very, very nice, enjoyable conversation for me. And I'm sure it was enjoyable for our viewers as well.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to speak. Speak about Wakuli, and a pleasure to be here.
Sure. And thank you, viewers, for watching and maybe listening to this episode of The Packaging Perspective. If you enjoyed it, make sure to share it with your network, with your friends, with family. Share it everywhere. And until the next one, bye. And that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, head over to packhelp.com to keep on exploring the exciting world of packaging.